Hello and welcome to day 5 of the 21 Days Mindfulness. Today we are going to move from our physical body, which we've done over the last 3 sessions, and we're going to move to the pranic body or the breath body. So we're going to talk a lot about breath technique. We're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of using your breath and when to and when perhaps it will help you in your mindfulness practice. Before I go on to talk about breath, I think it'd be a nice opportunity now for us to open our little books, our diaries, and just have a moment or two. You can pause the video to do it, a moment or two to reflect on the last 4 sessions and how that's been going and how that's been implementing into your daily life, and perhaps just draw or just write reflection day 5 at the top. Pause the video and take a moment to write down what has been working well for you, what have you enjoyed learning about or practicing, and of course underneath that, what do you feel that doesn't quite work that well for you? What have you been struggling with? So a reflection is a nice time for us to just go over and recap as well what we've been doing in the last few days. So I'll give you a few moments to do that. I would recommend pausing the video, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, great. So hopefully you've taken a few moments to write down some reflections over the last few days. The reflections will probably represent how it is you're feeling at the moment about certain types of practices, or perhaps how you've struggled to get into the practice, or maybe you've fallen asleep during the practice. So remember, our key objectives in the beginning of the course were to approach everything with acceptance and with kindness as well, and with an open mind. So I just wanted to remind everybody that the practice of mindfulness, meditation and breath work and yoga and movement and mindful activities, it's exactly that. It's a practice. So it can take a really long time to make those changes to how we react in a moment. So one thing that really helped me when I was practicing mindfulness was actually to be kind to myself when things went wrong. For example, just the other day, my partner was driving us to go for a walk, and he pulled up, turned the engine off, and without thinking, I said, "Why are you parking here? You could have parked over there, it's much better." And I heard myself do it. I had reacted to something, I had judged, and I realized that no matter how many times I have practiced that, I'm still working with this complex and beautiful brain and mind and subconscious that I have. So the most important thing is I acknowledged to my partner, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that." And I made a mental note to keep an eye and just to observe myself and kind of move on from it and not be too disheartened. Okay, so the breath. So the breath is something that we teach a lot in yoga. Breath is a great technique, or as in the breath techniques are a great style of anchoring you in all of your layers into the present moment. So we often use that in yoga classes because it's quiet in the room and we're moving. So we kind of created that way of moving with the breath, so people kind of almost go into that moving meditation. One of the other benefits to breath technique for me is it bridges a gap between my autonomic nervous system and my body. So my autonomic nervous system is an automatic system that reacts to the environment and will speed up your heart or release hormones or whatever it might do. So it has been related to the fight or flight response, but it's also rest and digest. So I find the breath is a great way to speak to the autonomic nervous system. And one of the best reasons why that's great is because sometimes when practicing present moment practice, mindfulness, the present moment can really stress you out. The present moment could bring up all sorts of things. So at least with my breath technique, if the present moment is feeling a little bit overwhelmed, which means I'm in a dialogue with my external environment, I can gain control by focusing on my breath. So we're going to do 3 days of breath. Today we're going to tune in to the breath. Tomorrow we're going to use a technique that is good for calming the breath, therefore the other layers of your being, so we can work with the nervous system and the mind and energetic bodies. And then the third day will be an uplifting technique, a really great pranayama or breath technique that can help lift your energy when you need it. So, quick disclaimer on breathing techniques. Today is a very gentle technique, which is more natural than anything. When it comes to tomorrow and the next day, the techniques themselves will have an effect on your body and your systems. So please contact me if you have any respiratory issues, cardiovascular heart problems, and you haven't already told me about those yet, as well as if you're pregnant and if you're suffering from any other mental health issues or physical health issues. I wouldn't mind just checking with you first to make sure that the technique will suit you. That being said, the techniques are quite calming, tomorrow's, and the uplifting one is just a little bit of a faster rhythm, so it's not like we're going to be kind of hyperventilating at any point, so don't be afraid. Contact me if you need. Okay, so I would recommend lying down for today's session if it's okay, or if you're already seated on a chair, stay there, that's absolutely fine. Take a moment now to look around you, so just being mindful of the room that you're in. Take a breath in and smell. If you can smell anything in your room, take a listen and check what noises there are around, being aware of everything that's happening in your environment right now. And when you're ready, gently close your eyes. For a moment, just lay there or sit there and see which of your senses are bringing up information at the moment. Whenever something comes up, your brain might give it a label, give it a name. See that name or label in front of you with your eyes closed, just seeing that label there. And then see it dissipate away or float away and come back to opening up your 5 senses to the moment. So remember, you have your progressive relaxation technique if you feel that right now you can't relax. And remember that you can change your position, pause, and come back if you need to. So we're going to tune into the breath now for the next couple of minutes. Now, as you lay there or sit there, you can bring your arms or hands, up onto the belly. If that means you're holding your arms out like that and straining the muscles, then relax them completely and just have one finger or something nearby. If you're seated, just make sure that you're kind of finding that perfect tuning on the guitar between not too tight and not too loose. Relax the muscles of the face if possible, or perform a progressive relaxation to get the area to relax. And now let's bring our attention just onto the bridge of the nose and to the skin around the nose. We're going to tune into our natural breath as it stands, as it is in this moment. If you can travel into the lungs and just notice and be aware of how far that natural breath is opening and closing the ribcage and the lungs as it flows naturally. Every now and again something may catch your attention and you'll start to wander, adding to that 47%. Just come back again and think of the bridge of your nose, the skin around your nose, perhaps noticing the temperature of the air going in and the temperature of the air going out. With your hands around the belly, you may notice as well how your belly expands with the inhale and releases on the exhale, finding that beautiful physical mindfulness along with the breath mindfulness. So now I want to ask you to visualize. It can be either in front of the face or down by the belly where the breath is. I want you to visualize a balloon. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine and visualize and see that balloon expand and release. So we're using a vision of the balloon, and it represents our breath as it flows in and as it flows out. No need to try and fill that balloon all the way to the top. We're just observing that balloon as it fills naturally today. With every distraction that comes up, every time you feel you've wandered somewhere else, come back to the bridge of the nose, the skin around the nose, and see your balloon in front of you. So this was a very simple technique to tune into our natural breath, to notice where it goes, to visualize it expanding in the lungs via visualizing a balloon. And if perhaps it's the end of the day for you, you might notice that you're feeling already a little bit of a switch. If you've just woken up, you might notice you now feel really relaxed. So now I'm going to finish the video. Go ahead and continue to practice this for a few more minutes if you feel that would suit you now. And I'll see you tomorrow for breath technique number 2. Thank you.